what comes from religion is good, which is great morals.
In order for religion to be
Truth.
good, does it matter if a religion is true?
To a religious person, it doesn't matter a whole lot.
So as a religious person myself, I think that it really matters a lot to me if the religion I believe is true. In fact, I would say that my religion isn't good if it isn't true. One of the reasons is because... Well, what do you think of the sign that we have today? Is religion good or bad? Your take.
Usually I get into these conversations after I had a couple drinks.
Okay.
You know how it goes? Kind of get more spiritual or more philosophical. Saw your sign, I was like, you know what? What is this guy? What's going on here? So
Yeah, let's do it. Let's talk about it.
I think what comes from religion is good, which is great morals. You can take examples from the Bible and apply them to real life and get good lessons from them. And the idea of faith is good, but religion, the institutional religion itself has unfortunately got a bad image. There's been obviously what's I'm looking for, infiltration of corruption, especially at the Catholic level.
Sure.
We've heard about the sexual abuse of children, things like that, and then that being covered up after it's been found out, which is despicable behavior. So that part of it, but religion itself, good things have come from it historically. Faith is really, really good for people. It can save people. I've had a buddy who used to be on hard drugs, and then he disappeared for a couple of years, and he got off them, and then he said he found God.
Wow.
So that aspect of it can be good. But I'm not a religious person myself. It's just I don't know. I just didn't. I was raised Christian. I went to Sunday school. And then after that, I think we got to about a couple stories, probably Noah's Ark, and we got to a few of the stories. And then as a kid, you're like, sounds improbable, right? You know, the intention is good, right? Obviously, good lessons come from it, but the stories themselves are more improbable than not. And I think that does pull people away from religion, is the more famous stories that you go, that doesn't sound likely. Just when somebody asks me, I just go, I don't know, I have no idea. And then I ask them, do you know? And then... And I go, you also have no idea,
Gotcha.
right? So those who are religious, those who are not, we're the same level.
So if I'm understanding you right, Aaron, you would say religion, good things can come from religion, like moral values.
Correct.
It can help change people's lives for the better,
Absolutely.
like your friend that you mentioned.
Absolutely.
But some of the religious institutions, like in particular the Catholic Church, you see serious issues.
Absolutely.
And believe that there needs to be a major overhaul there.
there.
Yeah, I mean, for what it's worth, man, I'm not a Catholic. I am a Christian.
Yeah.
But those same criticisms that you have, some of the stuff that's gone on with the priesthood in the past, I would certainly resonate with that and agree with you on that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But,
I'm curious, man. I can tell you've thought about these things, which is cool.
Oh, yeah,
Like,
for
what's
sure.
your, how much do you think truth matters in religion?
In order for religion to be
Truth?
good, does it matter if a religion is true?
objective truth or
Yeah,
personal?
yeah. No, like objectively true. How much does it matter? How important is it?
To a religious
view.
person or to somebody like me?
Yeah, I guess maybe both.
To a religious person, it doesn't matter a whole lot because faith, when you talk to a person, at the end of the line with every conversation comes down, they reach, well, that's just because I have faith and you don't, or that I have my faith. I don't know. I guess I'm more convinced by things I see and can be proven.
Okay, so if I'm understanding you, it's like you would say it doesn't really matter if the religion is true for the person who believes it,
Exactly.
but it does matter for someone like you know, who's really concerned about evidence, really concerned about data. And obviously our religious beliefs have a huge impact on our lives, like what you're saying, right? Really shape
It can
the way
shape
that you live,
it can
for
shape
better or worse, right?
Yes, it can shape toxic behavior or good behavior.
I'm interested to hear what you think of this. So as a religious person myself, I think that it really matters a lot to me if the religion I believe is true. In fact, I would say that my religion isn't good if it isn't true.
Sure.
One of the reasons is because, you know, if there is such a thing as like eternal life and eternal death, what good is a false religion if it ends up in eternal judgment, right?
True.
Or not so much here in the U.S., but in other places around the world, lots of Christians suffer and sacrifice a lot for what they believe. The Bible itself says if it's not true, it's not worth it, right? It's not worth the suffering. And I guess applying just to more religious people in general, a lot of people turn to religion to try and find a basis for real purpose in life, real importance in life, real morality. But obviously a false religion can't provide a legitimate basis for those things. Only a true religion can. So I guess those would be some of the reasons why, as a religious person, I would agree with you that it really does matter a lot if the religion you believe is true, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm curious, man, because it sounds like you've had religious conversations before. What's like the most compelling reason you've heard for believing that any particular religion is true?
That
Of all the
any
conversations that you've
particular
had,
reason-
yeah. Anything that you've heard that you're like, oh, that's actually That's actually pretty compelling.
It'll just be like, oh, that's a good point, but can you prove it? No. Can I prove he's not real? No. So it's going to end. The train tracks are going to stop at faith.
Gotcha.
It's always going to stop at faith. Probably the strongest argument to convince me was somebody who just died and was like, all right, let me describe exactly what I saw, and I go, really? But again,
You can explain it another
yeah,
ways,
I
right?
can go, well, maybe
Yeah,
if I
makes
talk to a
sense.
doctor and he goes, well, the brains, he might be able to disagree that with science, and then I'm back at square one where I don't believe either of you.
Yeah.
Right? So that's
So
why.
you put it in an interesting way, Aaron. So like you said, that the train tracks always end at faith. That for you, whether you believe in God or don't believe in God, it's not something that there's really good evidence for either way. It just ultimately comes down to belief that is more or less blind in nature. It's not really, there's not really good justification for, believing in
It's true.
one or
That's
the
why
other.
I always respect religious people. I'm like, I respect your beliefs, and I'm never gonna ever say anything bad to you because you believe that. But I'm also not gonna go to an atheist and say F you either. They have just about as much idea as a religious person does.
Gotcha.
Neither of them know. Nobody knows. We actually don't know. I'm right
not
down the
swayed
middle.
either
You might
way,
not want
yeah.
to put me on your video because
Oh, no,
I'm
it's
right
okay.
down the middle.
Well, I'm curious what you think of this, because the idea that you're talking about, of the tracks ending in blind faith, that definitely seems to be the case for a lot of religious people.
Yes.
Interestingly, that's not the Bible's view of faith. The Bible doesn't condone believing things without good reason. And I know I personally wouldn't want to be a Christian if I didn't think there were actually good reasons for believing that God exists. One that I find very compelling personally, I'm interested in hearing what you think of this.